July was a humbling month. After hitting $40,000 in June, my earnings dropped significantly. And I want to be transparent about what I think happened because I think there's a real lesson in it for anyone that's building this business. But I also want to use today's video to talk about 3 principles that have had a bigger impact on my output, my team's productivity, and how I make decisions more than anything else I've implemented. These aren't Amazon specific. They're frameworks I keep coming back to over and over again. And once you see them, you'll start noticing them everywhere in your business. Hey all, my name is Andy Lee, founder of Lypad Academy, where we help Amazon influencers launch and scale their business to the next level. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this type of content each week. All right, let's start with Cha-Ching Sales Dashboard. And now Cha-Ching has made a major update to the way that they share data, which is pretty cool. Let me go ahead and share some of it right here. So far it's July 28th with 27 days of income earned. It's around $18,117. I've been averaging about $500 a day lately. And so if we expect that trend, this is going to take me slightly above $20,000, which is a 50% drop from what I was in June. So pretty huge, but let me explain what I saw and what I think caused that. So look at these pretty pie charts. I think I've been sharing a lot of pie charts lately from Claude, and Chris took that idea and put it into Cha-Ching, and I am loving it. You can see the month over month very easily. And the biggest thing that pops out at me is that the creator connections dropped significantly. 5% may not seem like a lot, but it actually is, especially when we see the balance going back to on-site. So on-site, we see 3,600 compared to last month, 5,800. Affiliate plus creator connections, 32,000 compared to 13,000. That is a huge drop. Now, I think what happened here, because Prime Day was in June, is that a lot of brands pulled back their campaigns and their marketing spend to save up for Q4. That's when all of the products are going to be shipped, and that's when they're going to be looking for a lot more content from influencers. And so I saw a lot of my products, they did renew in June, but they did not renew in July. And that was a big contributing factor. I also lost several key placements where simply it's just getting tougher out there. I think the word is out. People know that average watch duration is a big contributor as far as carousel placement. And people also know about comparison videos and high quality content. And so I did lose a couple #1 spots. There were also a few brands that decided to turn off the upper carousel for whatever reason. And I lost that visibility and those commissions as a result as well. Overall, I really can't complain. $20,000 is still a huge sum of money. And I'm just glad that I am still breaking that particular threshold. I haven't dipped below 20,000 in the last 6 months. And I do want to continue to see that trend. That is essentially the floor, and it just goes up from there. So taking a look at the dashboard a little bit more, you can actually use this to scroll back and review previous months. So example for May, it was 25. April was 21. You can also take a look at the full year. And for the full year, I've made $243,000 in the past 12 months, which is amazing. When I started this journey 17 months ago, I never would have thought that I would actually make it. Cha-Ching isn't the only software that's made some big changes. ViralVue has also made some big changes to their dashboard. Now, for whatever reason, it's not updating fully for July yet. I did try refreshing right before this, but it hasn't updated. It might take a day to update, and so I haven't clicked that refresh button lately. But as you can see, it is broken down by month over month for every month for the last 12 months, which is a really nice feature. It gives that holistic view as far as your overall trend. So one thing that you're going to notice down here is that it's also broken down in very large numbers. So you can see exactly where the money's going as far as on-site, we have off-site, we have creator connections, and then overall revenue that you've generated for the brand. I think the last contributing factor is that I simply have not been doing enough review videos. This last month, I only released 2 of them. The month before was 1. I think the month before that was only like 5. So we've been really busy, heads down, trying to launch Lypad Academy, where we put together this content on YouTube. We also have digital courses where I teach students around how to hire and train a VA, how to scale up in the Amazon influencer program, and also match students with VAs that are based in the Philippines. So there's quite a bit going on right now, but I fully intend to get back into reviews in September in preparation for Q4. Before I get into these 3 principles, I want to set a bit of context because it might seem like it's coming from an unexpected direction. A lot of what I teach is about creating high quality, high converting content, production standards, retention editing, scripting, the anatomy of a video that actually holds attention and wins the carousel. And I stand by all of that. Quality matters enormously in this program, but high quality does not mean spending days chasing perfection on every single thing you produce. There's a meaningful difference between producing high quality content and endlessly chasing a perfect version of it. And the 3 principles I'm about to share are really about helping you find that line so that you're putting the right level of effort into the right things and not letting the pursuit of perfect become the enemy of good. First is the Pareto Principle, which most people know it by the 80-20 rule. The idea is that roughly 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs. And when I look at my own data, it holds up in a way that's genuinely striking. In the new Cha-Ching Sales Dashboard, I can see a breakdown of my top investment products, the products I personally purchased to review. And of my top 15 investment products, I made a net $52,000 while only spending $2,000 on purchasing them. 20% of the products that I've invested in are responsible for the vast majority of that return. The rest are either barely breaking even or operating at a small loss. And here's the thing, that's not a failure, that's how it works. Most of the time, when you invest in a product, you're not going to hit that home run. The investment is about finding the 20% that do. And the way you find them is by staying in the game long enough to identify which ones they are. The mistake most people make is either not investing at all because they're afraid of the ones that won't pay off, or abandoning their research process when a product doesn't perform immediately. So I do have most of this blurred out just because I don't want any additional competitors on some of these products, but I will show you the Ninja French door oven. This has made me $12,000, and actually I'm quite surprised. I thought it was only $5,000 or $6,000, but collecting all the data that it's so difficult to see in Amazon and in other places, this makes it so simple and easy with this new sales dashboard. And you don't even need to spend a few $100s for investment products. Just look at this electric foil shaver. I spent maybe like $20 on this, and it's made me over $1,500. If you want to see the 3 specific product research strategies I used to find those top performers, I actually covered all 3 in detail alongside my 40,000 June earnings breakdown. Check out that video over here. Pareto Principle tells you to expect that most won't perform immediately and to trust that the ones that do will more than make up for it. What this means practically for product research is that your criteria should be designed to give you the best possible chance of landing in that 20%. Low competition, strong commission rates, high sales volume, a creator connections campaign, those filters aren't guarantees, but they tilt the odds in your favor. And the more you refine your research process over time using your own data, the better your hit rate. It's never going to be 100%, but you don't need it to be. For the second principle, which is Parkinson's law, and this one has burned me and my team more times than I'd like to admit. Parkinson's law states that the work expands to fill the available time for its completion. In other words, if you give yourself 3 hours to edit a video, it will take you 3 hours. If you give yourself 1 hour, it'll take you 1 hour. Now, the quality difference is often smaller than you'd expect. I've watched this happen over and over again with deadlines, and I have a pretty recent example of this. When we were building out Scale Up, we set a launch date, and then we push it out, and then we push it out again twice. And each time there was a reason. We wanted one more module finished, one more section tightened up, or the production quality on a lesson just needed another pass. And those were real reasons. But looking back, a lot of the time that went into those extensions wasn't really moving the needle as much as we told ourselves it was. We even considered pushing it a 3rd time, and then we made a decision that I think was the right one. We launched anyway, with a handful of lessons still missing. And you know what? It was fine. It wasn't the end of the world. The missing lessons went up within a few days, and for the overwhelming majority of students, that was completely seamless experience. There was maybe only one person that it may have affected because this one person binge watched the entire course in a single day, and you know who you are. But that was the exception, not the rule, and waiting another week to ship a complete course to protect against one edge case would have been a classic case of Parkinson's law winning. The fix is simple in concept and genuinely hard in practice. Keep the deadline. Set a realistic time budget for a task based on what it actually deserves, not based on how much time you have available, and then hold to it. This is especially important for editing. If you're making a video on a product you're not sure is going to perform well, don't spend 3 hours polishing it. Give it an hour, ship it, see what happens. If it starts earning, you can always go back and improve it or create another video. If it doesn't, you haven't overinvested in something that wasn't going to return. I started being a lot more intentional about setting time budgets for tasks tasks on my team and holding them. Not in a way that sacrifices quality on the things that matter, but in a way that's realistic about what level of effort a given task actually warrants. Before I get into the third principle, I want to mention that the Pareto and Parkinson's frameworks, alongside with a few others I use regularly, are available on our website as a free resource. You'll also find our product profit calculator and a VA delegation tool that helps you figure out exactly how many hours you have to hand off before you make your first hire. All you have to do is sign up for our newsletter to get access, where I share what's working and what's not in the Amazon Influencer Program. Also tips I'm learning in real time and news about what's coming from Lypad Academy. Link is in the description below. Okay, the third concept is the minimum viable product, MVP for short. This comes from software product development, which is where I spent a lot of my career before building Andrew's Reviews and Lypad Academy. The idea is that instead of building the perfect version of something before you release it, you build the most usable version you can in the least amount of time. Get it out into the world, learn from the response, and then iterate. You're not shipping something broken or low effort. You're shipping something that does the job and gets out of the way of its own potential. This translates directly to content. If you have a brand deal that just needs a video that meets their basic requirements, deliver exactly that. A clean, well-shot video that fulfills the brief. Don't over-engineer it. The brand got what they needed, you honored the agreement, and you kept your time budget intact for higher return work. And that's a win. It also applies to products you're just not sure about. If you're testing a new product category or trying out a product where you're not confident in the earning potential, don't start with a 12-minute polished comparison video. Start with a solid 3 to 5 minute single product review that demonstrates the product well, makes the case clearly, and gets it into the carousel. If it starts earning, that's your signal to go deeper. A longer video, a comparison, better B-roll, a more thorough demonstration. If it doesn't, you spent maybe an hour instead of 12 hours on a much more in-depth video. The MVP mindset keeps you from overcommitting to things before you have evidence they're worth the full investment. And when you're managing a team, it creates a culture of shipping and iterating rather than perfecting and delaying. Both of those are better outcomes for the business. So to bring these together, the Pareto Principle tells you where to focus your energy and helps you make peace with the products that don't perform because you know the ones that do will carry the portfolio. Parkinson's law reminds you that time without a constraint will always expand, and that shipping something good today almost always beats shipping something perfect in 3 weeks. And the MVP mindset gives you a practical framework for calibrating how much effort a task actually deserves before you validate that it's worth more. These 3 things applied consistently have had more of an impact on my output and my team's output more than any individual tool or tactic that we've tried. I hope they're as useful for you as they've been for me. And if this resonated, make sure you're subscribed because I'll be dropping more content like this every week. And I'll see you in the next one.